Welcome to Homeschooling for Spirituality. The Flow is a delightful mix of insight, divine inspiration, and humor, where wisdom meets earthiness to help your ongoing spiritual growth and transformation. Follow the flow of enlightenment and explore everything spiritual through the deepest self-inquiry, as student Lisa Berry asks Master Spiritual Teacher G.P. Walsh the kinds of questions you would ask an elder, a wise man, or a sage, and receive direct, simple, comprehensive, and deeply human lessons and teachings. From transcending the experience of separation, releasing old conditioned patterns and wounds, and alleviating suffering, to demystifying esoteric practices and revealing one's true purpose and innate freedom. Welcome to the flow of enlightenment. Transformation is all there is.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the flow of enlightenment. Hello, GP.
Hello, Lisa.
I feel like it's the grand entrance.
I am just so glad you do the beginning and not me. How could I? I just could not get that level of enthusiasm and effervescence. I can't attain to that.
Oh, well, then I'm in my role. Maybe this is my destiny. This is my role.
That's right.
I would love to begin and just let people have a peek into your life, GP, right now, just because you just made a big move over the weekend. So here we are Tuesday, and you're just getting settled in. How are you with this big move?
I'm very happy about it. I love Seattle, and I have been wandering aimlessly for the last 5 years, since May of 2015, actually. I actually haven't had a home. I've been going from one place. I never lived on the street or in my car or anything like that.
Right.
But I didn't have my own place. I was just renting a room here and there, staying with people and the like. I was just kind of wandering. And this is the first time I've gotten my own place. It feels really good.
Oh, it does feel really good. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted people to hear that because we are talking about free will today. Fate, destiny, choices. Are we trained? Are we, who makes the decisions in our lives anyways? and so that for you was a choice for the past 5 years, or was it more you just didn't feel comfortable, it didn't feel right?
Yeah, this is the subtlety of this particular topic, destiny and free will, and it has been going on, forever, and the debate is still raging. Psychology and science pretty much say there is no self, right? It's all conditioning.
Right.
And then you have the other side, spiritual people, and say, oh, there's free will, and I'm getting to choose, and all that sort of thing. And the non-dual approach isn't philosophical, nor is it dogmatic. It's look for yourself. Really look and see whether or not the choices you've made have been choices, or have they simply been driven, by conditioning and by your past and karma, and which is kind of conditioning on steroids, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens? I don't know. I got in 2015, I just had this impulse to wander, and for the last 5 years, that's what I've done. And then now it's let's get your own place in the city. I'm right in the heart of Seattle, and so I did. Now, did I choose that? Was it destiny? You can't answer that question superficially. You can't look at it and take a philosophical point of view and say, oh yeah, of course I chose that, or of course I didn't. It was all conditioning. Right? That deprives you of the opportunity to actually look and see for yourself, and that's where wisdom comes from.
Okay, I love where you've left us. Look and see for yourself, and then to throw in there, that's where wisdom comes from. So if somebody doesn't feel that they have wisdom, that's going to be a harder look. Or does wisdom just show up? I mean, we don't just call upon it like, all right, this is my wisdom bank. This is how much I have. I'm going to take a withdrawal to look here.
That's right. I got to go to the wisdom ATM. No, the act of looking without preconceptions is wisdom.
Oh, looking without preconceptions is wisdom.
Yes. When we look with preconceptions, our assumptions, what we see is our assumptions. So we don't really see. But when you look without that, you become like a little child. That's what Christ said, become like little children. Unless you become like a little child, you cannot see the kingdom of heaven.
Does this help us remove, sorry, I don't know if it's remove, but heal blame? Or so if I'm walking through life and I'm like sitting here today talking to you and I think, well, let me look. 3 years ago, did I decide that I would move here, live here, take this job, make this friend, stay in this relationship? Are these, and then I think, okay, I'd like to look without assumptions. How does one start? Like, whoa, it's like make a list here. It feels like a whole course that I need to do now.
Yeah, it's not that hard, thank goodness.
Oh, good.
It's very simple. I shouldn't say it's not hard. It is difficult simply because we're so used to just defaulting to our assumptions. To the point where we don't even know they're assumptions. We assume them to be true. Right?
Yes.
So just take a look. You just take a look. When I made that decision, what actually happened? Right?
Okay.
There was two directions that I had to go. Right? I could go this way or this way. Maybe more. Maybe multiple choice, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going back and forth. Or should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? And then all of a sudden, a choosing thought arises. It says, this way. And you go, okay. And off you go this way. And 2 or 3, 4 thoughts later, there's a thought that said, I chose that.
Okay.
Now, did you? There was definitely a choosing thought.
Right.
But go back to the moment that choosing thought appeared. Were you making that thought? Were you there before the thought? Whittling at the little piece of wood to make the choosing thought? Or did the choosing thought just appear out of nowhere?
Right.
From that point of view, it is neither destiny nor free will. It's a very spontaneous thing happening in this moment. Non-duality presents a third option.
Yes. Yes, it does. In that story there, I had this vision of a child becoming an adult and graduating high school, and now off to college or university they go. And did they choose to go to that particular college and take that particular degree or not? Or was it conditioning from the parents? Was it subliminal? Was it expected? Was it, what is it called when you go against somebody's wishes?
Rebellious?
Yes, thank you. See, I'm never rebellious. Can't even think of the word. No, but they're rebelling against this what their parents want. So at that point, I can see now how we can get really wrapped up in trying to uncover, to see if we were at choice point, and was that what we decided to make or not? And because we can blame a lot too. If we didn't like the outcome, we might go, nope, that was not me. I did not choose that.
Yes, it's really a nice way to try to avoid taking responsibility. Whether you make the choices or not, you live with them, right? So it's not like you can avoid the consequences of your actions, right?
Right.
But you can certainly be a lot more gentle with yourself, right? And we can't choose something that's outside of our sphere of belief. We simply can't do it. We can't do something that's outside the realm of what we believe to be true.
I do remember you saying that. We have to go a little bit deeper on that one, because that one, to be honest, I was like, whoa, wait. So that means that even my bad choices, all the bad choices that we've all ever made, it had to have been in an alignment with what we believe to be true.
Yes.
In order for, whether it is or not, but we had to have believed.
Nobody purposely does something bad or stupid or self-destructive. Right? We don't get up in the morning and go, geez, how can I screw up my life today? I mean, we don't do that.
Right.
So in the moment, it's more like oh my God, what was I thinking? In the moment, that choice looked very good. It was compatible. It did fit into the beliefs. Then what happens is it doesn't bear the fruit that we're hoping it does, and then we go back and reconsider it from a different perspective. Everything we do has the objective of benefiting us in some way.
Yes.
When it doesn't, then we go, I made a bad choice, right? Unless of course, you go through a bad period and then something even better happens. Then I was directed by God, or right? So we're constantly revising history. We're rewriting our past all the time,
yes,
from the perspective of our present.
Yes.
But if you look at it in the moment, it was simply a choosing thought. That's all it was.
Brilliant. Yes. That is so interesting. I like that. I like hearing that, because at the time, I remember hearing years ago that sometimes when people become drug addicts or alcoholics, it's because in that moment, that drink was their best choice that they perceived to be. Now, maybe later on something bad, they got into an accident from it, something was taken away from them. Now they have a different perspective and they look back. I like how you worded that. We're rewriting our own history based on a perspective. That is fascinating.
And when you're talking about an addiction like that, it is, right? If there's an emotional pain there and it brings you relief, in the moment you're not concerned with long-term consequences. Right? I remember the first time I got stoned. I was 15 years old. And I remember vividly, it was the first time I could remember in my life where I was relaxed. I was so used to being tense and walking on eggshells because of my mother's illness, her mental illness. And that, there was no love or affection or anything like that. Everything was tense. That the first time I actually felt my body relax, I went, whoa, you're damn right I did it again. I never stopped doing it, right? Until the negative consequences of it began to appear. And all of a sudden, I was just at my wit's end. All sorts of nasty stuff was coming to the surface, and I didn't know what to do with it. And that's when I had the intervention, the divine intervention that just kind of grabbed me and pulled me out of it. I didn't ask for that. I didn't choose that.
Okay, that's actually a really important question. Divine intervention is not our choice. Is it something that we ask for? Is it something that... Yeah, because that's an interesting point on fate and destiny here. Are we destined? Were you destined to have an intervention, a divine intervention, whereas maybe I'm not, or somebody else isn't?
Well, where are these choices coming from? Where are these thoughts coming from? There's nothing but divine intervention. That's all there is. If it seems as if the choice is mundane, we go, that's not divine. It's got to be some extraordinary event, right? Like what happened to me at 19. Then it becomes obvious. But all the little things that led up to that, and all the little things that happened after that, and all the insights that unfolded after that, it was all divine intervention. That's all there is.
Here's back to my bank conversation. That's so funny because I'm such a little budgeter that I'm like, no, every dollar matters. I know, because if the little dollars didn't add up, they wouldn't. If they didn't matter, then they wouldn't have added up to all the big dollars.
That's right.
I like the spiritual ATM, the wisdom ATM, and the spiritual. I need to go to these places.
And the nice thing about it is the account never goes down. The balance is always higher.
Yes, this is beautiful. So I like that we're talking about choice and free will, just to kick this off, because as this show, as we get really into it, I think a lot of people really do rely on fate to be their explanation or their purpose. Like, I'm meant to be here. Like, we're meant to be here. This is meant to happen. And I don't know if that's safe or not, to be honest. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. So we're going to have to go into that one. But if you could just leave before we go into commercial, the difference between, I don't know if this is possible, the difference between destiny and fate, is that just two different words for the same thing?
It's pretty much two different words for the same thing. I'm not aware of any substantive difference between them. People use them interchangeably.
Okay.
You know, things. There is an order to things, right? Look, if you never question your conditioning, if you simply become exactly the way you were programmed to be, you can call that fate. You can call that destiny. It certainly is predictable, right?
That's true.
Some, they've done studies of violent criminals, and the worst, most violent criminals all had done to them what they did to somebody else. Yes. It's totally predictable. Right? Mm-hmm. So was it their fault? Are they these horrible monsters? No. They were programmed to be that way. And they didn't have any consciousness to be able to see through their own programming and thus to choose something better. And of course that's what it would seem like, that it's a choice. And in fact, on a certain level it is. But you can't be choosing anything until you see through your own conditioning. And then you can go beyond choice. And I think we'll have to get into that after the commercial break.
You know what? I feel that those who are going to join us again and are just tuning in, come on back, because I feel like you're going to be able to find a way to really, truly empower yourself right now. And these are going to be the tips and the tools and the ways to do it, and being able to make the choices that you do want to make. We'll come.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization. Their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes. Co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
I am Fidel Nshambo. I was born in a city called Bukavu in the Congo. We were a loving family, and then, boom, everything that I had disappeared in a single day. People think that when you are a refugee and they resettle you to America, and all your problems are done. They don't understand that that's the beginning of everything. I was not born a refugee. I was made one.
It's time we welcome refugee families with open arms. Learn more at embracerefugees.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
All right, we are happily back, and we're jumping into the flow this time. Jumping into the flow of enlightenment.
Into the deep end of enlightenment.
Yes, absolutely. And what I was just, I was listening to the wonderful commercial there for Victor Furman, and how it's Destinations Unlimited, right?
Unlimited.
Yes. And I thought, because you've just traveled, you drove for 2 days to get where you are, and you must have seen some beautiful sights and just seen different things. And I thought, this is a great time for me and you, for us to say thank you to our sponsor, High Rise. Oh my gosh, tourism! Because I was like, I'm going off memory here. High Rise Tourism, and I thought, because people all over the world are just, whether they are, destination because they're moving, or destination they want to experience something new. I mean, Suzanne, who has started High Rise Tourism, she is just in love with gaining new experiences and being able to see the world through a different perspective because of that, and connecting with people in different ways. So I wanted to say thank you to High Rise Tourism for sponsoring this lovely show, The Flow of Enlightenment. And I know, GP, you've just been touring around, so you've got us in your bones extra right now.
I do. I do have the wanderlust.
That's such a great word. Well, we kind of, we've hit on so many hot topics here along the way already. I'm feeling that just what people are wanting to know right now is, do they have free will? Are they controlled? Can they make a difference? Can they take their power back? Did they ever lose it? Is it all fate and destiny? Is it written in the stars or already laid out before them? And we're jumping into all of those. And the thing I should have written down. I wrote so many things that we're going to get back into is looking at what we are. I think I want to go with consciousness. How can we look with being conscious at whether it's our programming or our self wanting to make this new decision?
Well, unless consciousness dawns, you won't be looking at your conditioning. You'll just be it. It's really that simple. If you look at the way animals are trained, and the human body is an animal. It's an animal that happens to be the perfect vehicle for self-aware consciousness to function through. But it's an animal, just like a dog or a cat or something like that. You train it. It does what it's trained to do. It has no problem with the way it's trained. The dog doesn't get up in the morning and go, damn, I don't want to roll over again. If he tells me to do that one more time, I'm going to tear his face off. I mean, they don't do that. They don't have any kind of conflict with conditioning. They just are conditioning. Right? Now, the human mechanism, the human body, the tribe, the nymph, and the storyteller are simply the human animal. Now, many will say, well, that's all there is to us, and that's why not having any idea about a self or consciousness or anything like that, because it falls outside the realm of what can be studied empirically. Many people just conclude, well, there isn't one. You're nothing but conditioning, right? Mm-hmm. And other people get upset. Don't tell me I'm just an animal. God made me and all that. It's like, dude, lighten up. You're not. Your body is.
Enlighten
right?
up.
Don't just right. So, but the key, right? The open door to wisdom for the human being is to discern what is the body's conditioning and what is me. What's the original innocent me? What is consciousness and what is simply conditioning? Conditioning is not consciousness. It's just functioning. The way a computer functions in the body, you could think of it as a highly sophisticated organic computer. It simply does what it was programmed to do. And that works on all levels, mind, body, and emotions. All of it gets programmed, right?
Right. Can somebody else bear witness to someone else being conscious? Like if somebody said to me, gosh, I don't know if I'm conscious, am I able to stand back, have a look, and go, yep, I think you are, or nope, you are so not? Like somebody
fill
else
out this form. We'll determine whether or not you're conscious.
Yes.
The very fact that you ask it means there's some consciousness there. Conditioning doesn't question anything. It just acts.
Okay,
right?
yes.
You have to see it like that. Think of it like the dog, right? It doesn't question at all. It just does it.
Right.
You ring the bell, it salivates. Simple as that.
Yeah, he doesn't get all stuck into, why am I always hungry when they ring that bell?
Yes, because, wow, is there some kind of subtle causal connection? Have I been programmed? I mean, they don't do that. But the fact of the matter is you are consciousness. That is your nature. So it's always intruding itself into the conditioning. That's what it means to be a human. That's the whole point of it. And so while the consciousness is there, right, it gets very, very constrained and constricted. And I just am this. I am my body. I am my gender. I am my race. I am my religion. I am my beliefs. All of that, right, without questioning it. But consciousness is still there. You're aware of these things. You just don't take the time to pay attention to your own awareness of it. And then begin to discern that your awareness of it is different from it. My awareness of conditioning is itself not conditioned. It couldn't be.
Awareness cannot be conditioned. I like that. It wasn't programmed so that you become aware suddenly.
Right. Yeah. The awareness is not conditioned. And that's, if it was, it couldn't see the conditioning. It couldn't even recognize conditioning.
Okay. I like that we are conscious. So that's where we start, and then
I like it too.
Yeah. Thank God. And then we're like bubble wrapped, and it's like we got to pop each one of those little bubbles every time we ask the question. Like, there we're getting less of this conditioning around us.
Yes.
What happens to what is the person going through who says, I give up. I'm just tired of looking and making these decisions. Just let whatever happens. Let fate take it over. Where's that person?
Well, what's happening is their consciousness is really getting tired of being stuck in this little jar.
Yeah.
That's what's actually happening, and we begin to realize that we are stuck in the jar, and that's when self-help and personal development start, right? We're trying to make a better jar. Right?
Yes.
And at some point, and sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, right? It depends on the nature of it, the depth of it, how long it's been going on. All sorts of different things factor in, whether or not through our mere human effort we can actually make a dent into the conditioning. And at some point, people simply throw up their hands and say, I give up. I just can't make this work.
Yeah.
And that's a great sign. That's the first sign of genuine surrender. You have to surrender to your higher self. We try to use our human will and conditioning to correct conditioning. Even the word self-help, right? I mean, the broken self trying to help the broken self. I mean, where's that going to go?
Right. Oh, right. Yes. Let's get the injured person to heal the other. Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, the guy with the broken leg. Let's have him help the guy run the race. Good.
So you brought up something amazing in there. Surrender. And so many people talk about the dark night of the soul. Is that, can we go there about what is it? Does it have to be so dramatic to surrender?
No, it's not. That's the mind loves to make things dramatic, right? Everything is a lifetime movie, right?
Yes.
It's not that dramatic. We all come to a point where we run out of moves, where we don't have what it takes to fulfill our own desires and aspirations. Right? And then people tell you, no, don't believe that. It's you can't. As long as you believe that, you're never going to attain it. And it's nonsense. Right? No matter how hard I try, I will never be a power forward in the NBA. I'm 5'7" and I have absolutely no athletic ability. Right? It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Right. Everyone is. Every individual form is focused in a particular way for a particular purpose. And that's not conditioning. That's simply the nature of life. Conditioning is overlaid on top of that. And so there comes a point where we simply run out of moves. And sometimes, we're so desperate to have this thing we want because we think our life is going to be perfect once we get it, that when we really do run out of that capacity, we finally just fall over. We can't do it. It's utterly debilitating, and it will feel like a dark night of the soul. But it could just be, you know what? I can't do it. Okay, now what? It could be that simple. That. And now it's not the dark night with clouds and terrible voices and gargoyles and stuff. It doesn't have to be that.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that way at all.
It's fine. I get it. So it's like if I really wanted to move all the furniture around in my house, and I'm strong, but not. You can't. Some pieces of furniture just are like a piano. I may not be able to move by myself, and I could try, but finally I go. You know what? I'm just not going to be able to do this by myself. So that's me surrendering and going. What are my other options? It's time for another move. I've been pushing at this thing for an hour. It's not going to do this.
Yeah,
okay.
Or you can sit down and say it's a dark night of the soul and go, I'm never going to get this piano moved.
That's right. Again, I'm stuck.
You know, I'm just going to have to leave it here. Yeah, I mean, come on, let's not be so dramatic.
Right. That makes so much sense. And really interesting I know we're a little bit away from Christmas, but I'm gonna use this as my analogy with parents. Parents, I don't know if it's their job or not, or they just will end up doing it. They have to condition their children to do something like if they're hungry, then here, eat. If you have to go to the washroom, we're going to condition them to go to a toilet and use it and flush it.
Yes.
When we have to make decisions like, I know there's a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't condition or teach your children that Santa Claus exists because it's a lie, and then you're just going to have to break their heart or tell them that you've been lying to them all these years when they learn. How do we know when we're playing God and getting to condition others, how do we know what's right?
Well, the only way to know what's right is you first have to transcend your own conditioning so that you can see clearly the effect that you're having on others. And you're right, we have to. The children have to be conditioned to not stick a fork in the light socket.
Yes.
Right? To not pee their pants, to not run out into the street. There's two sides to conditioning. The fact that you and I are having a conversation now, and you don't have to think about what words, your mouth's just doing it, right, is conditioning.
Yeah. Right.
But learning how to play the piano or ride a bike, it's conditioning, right? But we have to distinguish between the conditioning and consciousness. Some conditioning is destructive, right? But everybody has to be conditioned. This is the human conditioning. Yeah. Anyway, we have to do it. Right? It's inevitable. You can't avoid it. People ask, well, can I raise my children without conditioning? Well, yeah, they'll be feral, but
yes, that is it.
And completely dysfunctional, but yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yes. I love that there's distinguishing there, that let's not give conditioning such a bad rap here. It does it's good, it's necessary.
Yes. When I mistake conditioning for myself, that's the problem. There's nothing wrong with conditioning. Of course we're conditioned.
Yes.
Of course the body has to be conditioned, and we want it to be conditioned in the best possible way. But it's not you. You're something else.
Okay. So bringing this back to free will. Free will. So I like this. It's that we actually partner with our conditioning. We partner with the conditioning and have the self have a look. And that, I'm going to feel like saying that's free will.
Well, it is freedom, for sure.
Okay.
Once you see yourself as some kind of conscious entity, even if you don't know what it is completely, that there's something more to you than the conditioning. And you can tell that because you're looking at the conditioning. We're talking about it, right? Mm-hmm. If I was the conditioning, I couldn't look at it. I couldn't talk about it. Right? I'm looking at it from some vantage point, right? Now that vantage point becomes very interesting. Now from that vantage point, we do seem to have free will, because I'm no longer doing things simply because conditioning has dictated it. I can see how conditioning would normally have me do it, but I see now that that's conditioning, and I don't want to do it that way. I know perfectly well that leads somewhere I don't want to go. So I bring myself to this place in the middle, this neutral place. And, at first I really want to jump right on it, and I want to make a decision and go some other place. That's usually the way it happens. That's personal development and self-help, and that, okay, I'm going to change my thinking, I'm going to manifest a house or something like that, right? But eventually you see that too is just part of the conditioning. And you finally get to this place where it's truly neutral. Now, from that neutral place, you can begin to see all actions and their consequences. Now, that's wisdom. Suddenly now you can see, oh, if I do this, then this is going to happen. So now you're in a completely different place from which choices will be made. And at this point, it does seem as though there is a genuine free will. But there's a wider seeing, for sure. But every thought that comes up that chooses is still happening in exactly the same way. And if you keep your looking and you keep seeing, you'll see that what's happening is wisdom is creating a bigger environment. It's creating a world of infinite choice. Right? But now, what's going to be chosen? Right? What's the criteria by which I choose? Me? It's going to benefit me. Right? See, the bigger the wisdom gets, the closer it comes to love. And suddenly, wisdom can't choose something just for itself. It sees the impact it has on everyone else simultaneously. Well, now what the hell do you do?
Well, that was really beautiful, actually. I love that. That's okay. Just to recap before the commercial sneaks in, the more. Wait a second here. I like this. What you said. Stephanie, we have a bigger atmosphere to look at, and the more. So I'm just because I want to get that where you said that we start looking more from a place of love, which actually makes it not just to the self. We have to come back to commercial on this one, but that one was really big. So that's actually more like this selflessness is going to play a role into this when we come back. Yes, selflessness while looking with self.
Yes.
All right, come on back, you guys. The flow of enlightenment.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On. My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are.
These are the sounds of a dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Well, a big thank you for everyone who's here with us right now. You're here with GP Walsh and myself, Lisa Berry, and we welcome questions on this call. Sometimes I forget we're on such a good roll, and I was like, we want to make sure that we are inviting people each and every week to either call in or write in advance to us, which we can get a hold of your question, and not the GP ever needs to know, it's just me, really. And you can call in right now by calling 202-570-7057, so 202-570-7057, or you can email us ahead of time, or just even now if you're thinking about we'll deal with it the next time, is questions with an S at gpwalsh.com. Really easy on that one. So we would love to just whatever way GP can assist you and walk you through that. And we left off with this massiveness. Here we are doing self-inquiry, and I'm thinking, got the word self going on, and all of a sudden we're going to be inquiring to a point when we eventually get there as we become more conscious that it's no longer just about self, and now it's coming more from love, and it's with everybody. So I need to unpack that one better. It's no longer the self.
Well, it happened, and it happens very naturally. You can't, as vision expands, which is what wisdom is. It's simply an expanding of vision, and you begin to see all the different interrelatedness of things, and you begin to see that everything you do impacts thousands of people, everybody really, right? You can't do anything neutral, right? We try. When it's focused just on me, I can look at a very small subset of consequences of my actions. And if my main focus is just myself, it's is it going to benefit me or my immediate family or tribe or something like that, and then it's okay. But as that vision expands, you begin to see all the different ways in which everything you do touches absolutely everyone, and there's a sense of responsibility that happens.
Yes.
And also at the same time, there's just a lessening of self. Because the limited perspective of my personal self is disappearing, because it is nothing more than conditioning. And as I expand beyond the conditioning, I expand beyond my limited self, which is love, right? That's love. When I see myself and everything I do reflected in everybody else, that's love. I can't help it. You can't help it. You can't stop it, because wisdom and love are one.
Oh, yes. I can feel that. I'm still catching up, but I feel that. And question around this free will, for choice again, is if I'm going to use myself in this one because I know where I'm going with this one. If everything, and I know and believe that to be true, that everything affects everything and involves everybody and everything, it just as if my kitty cats, hunt and hurt a little animal, I end up, now wanting to take care of something, they don't know that what they did has a reaction to an action. I know it does, so that if I truly believe that, can I just close my eyes to all of the animals in the whole world, they're being hurt and it's not really happening? Or is it like a lot of people say, if you just don't, if it's not in your perception, if it's not in your focus, then it can't affect you, but it does.
Yes. You're breaking up a little bit. Am I breaking up?
Oh, you were a little bit before, and is it me now?
Yeah. So as long as people can hear me, this is okay. I'm going to give you the hard part of this whole non-dual spiritual understanding as it develops. You're going to become aware of all these different patterns and their consequences. Mm-hmm. You're going to feel, it says that not a hair is lost. That God sees the fall of the sparrow. You see it all. You can't do anything about it. This is the nature of life itself. There's a surrender to the way things are that takes place. And it makes you and it even deepens that love, because it's not something you can do anything about. Yes, the cats are just going to attack the mouse, because that's what they do. Right? And they don't have a problem with it. The shark eats seals. They don't have a problem, right? Yum, yum. Right? Well, but we do the same thing. People eat chicken. People eat beef. Right? And we have to eat. We come face to face with the reality of life, and that it is violent and cruel. Everything lives by killing something else. Mm-hmm. Now, what do you do with that? Right? And that's the whole practice in Buddhism and other forms. How does one disport themselves in a world that is made like that? How do we transcend that? Right? Because we can't stop it.
Right.
So how do you walk gently through this world? How do you have the least amount of impact? How do you take care of what you can take care of, and recognize that you don't take a single breath that doesn't affect somebody else? this is just the expanding of wisdom that it takes in the entire picture. Where literally you become one with God. You see everything as it actually is. And your heart both breaks and overflows. Because all of it is the manifestation of the divine. There's not a divine and a mundane or a sacred and a profane. None of that exists.
Right.
It's all divine. This is all exactly as it is meant to be. It is all expressive. All the opposites, all the yin and the yang. All of it. You either accept it all or you don't, right?
Yes.
We want to segment this out. This is great. I like this. This is really happy and, rainbows and dolphins and squirrel tails and
Not
things.
the ones that the sharks eat, though.
Not the ones that the sharks eat, or the ones that are at SeaWorld, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
It's not like that. It's a very different relationship with life as it is. But you begin to see the beauty of it. I'm looking right now at a tree that's barren, and I can see its leaves, its dead browning leaves on top of bushes next to it, and the beauty of it is just extraordinary.
I really am liking how you shared with us. I feel like there's a new definition of free will. Free will doesn't, like I said, free will doesn't just mean that you get to make all the decisions that make your happy and heart sing. That is a very big distinguishing, that's new for me. And what you actually brought me to recall is that the truce that we make between our conditioning, that's not the way to go. So free will isn't about making, it's not that we've come to a truce and now that's the best of our decisions, so let's go there. It is about the reconciliation of self with truth.
Yes.
I think. Nope.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
You're reconciling yourself with what is.
Yes.
And in a sense, it is a truce. We stop fighting with the way things are. We stop fighting with our own conditioning. We stop trying to manipulate it or force it to be something else so I can get more of what I want. Even what I want is conditioning. Why do you want that? Do you ever look and see? I mean, it's very natural for human beings to want something better. But why that, and why in this way? That's all conditioning, too. It's all culturally determined.
Can it become not? Can what you want become... Can it come from not being conditioned?
What happens is that you simply don't want anything. You feel so complete that the wants come and go, but you realize that the wants all belong to the body, and you're not the body. And so, the body has to be taken care of. It's part of nature, right? And so you'll go to a restaurant and you'll choose the tofu salad over the, over the chicken cacciatore, right? Right. But for why? For what? Well, the choices begin to reflect more and more of the depth of who you find yourself to be. And so they will become more natural and thus more satisfying, right? The fulfillment of a desire that arises simply out of the nature of the body, of the functioning of the body-mind, is that fulfillment is really fulfilling. Where if it's just fulfilling some conditioned desire, it'll be temporary. It'll still have a bad taste. You'll get it one day, and 2 days later you're selling it on eBay, because it isn't really fulfilling. If it's going to fulfill you, it has to be fulfilling to your nature. And, your nature lives on two levels. There's the human nature, which is the nature of this particular form, which has its particular way of being in the world. And then there's your true nature, which is the overarching consciousness that is not limited to any form. So there's this beautiful interplay between the formless and the form. And the form is not abandoned. It's not thrown out. It's not like I'm going to transcend this body. I've got to get out of here kind of thing. I used to think it was like that. It took me a while. It was Zen Buddhism that opened my eyes. No, this is it. They are one. This is the divine. It's all how you see it. And you can't have the formless can only manifest itself as form. The formless is not manifest. There's nothing here.
Right.
So it has to manifest as form. And that form has a unique individual existence, tendencies, preferences that are very, very natural. They're not conditioned. They are exactly what it is. You blow on a saxophone, that's what it sounds like.
Right.
And it doesn't sound like a piano. And so you don't sound like me, I don't sound like you, and yet, in essence, we are actually one. We are two manifestations of the same essence. And that form, the one formless manifesting as multiple forms, is how love gets made manifest. How else could it be made manifest?
Otherwise it would just be floating around.
It would, if you like music without a song.
Yes, I get that. Oh, I hope you guys are just loving this. And if there's any questions around this, because I know, well, first of all, let's make an invitation to anybody, too, to have extra listening and extra clarity where you can actually interact every week with GPs super easily as they go every Sunday. It's, I think it's 3 p.m. Eastern. So it's going to be your new 12 p.m. GP where you are.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And it's go to YouTube and it's a satsang with G. So for 2 hours, I think you do that.
Yeah, sometimes longer. Yeah. There's I try to answer all the questions. Sometimes I can't, but I try to answer all the questions. But it's just on my channel, youtube.com/GP Walsh. It shows up live every Sunday. And people can ask questions via chat. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a beautiful way just to take a step up. You can listen to us here, of course, on the Flow of Enlightenment, and then ask your questions in advance or call in. But that's not the one. Now I'm going to announce that there is a retreat that you're going to be doing, and it is coming up in just not even quite 2 weeks. We're a little shy of the 2 weeks. December, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the 4th, 5th, and 6th. So it's 3 days, but don't worry, guys. It's not like all day long from morning till night. It's from 1 p.m. Eastern till 3:30 p.m. So you've got 2.5 hours, 3 days in a row to really, let you take a deeper dive. I'm going to say I'm going to let you take it from there, but just about that retreat. What does that look like?
Well, and that is, and that will be a private retreat. So it'll be very, very personal and very, very confidential. It'll be on Zoom, so we'll actually see each other, and so I get the opportunity to engage with people. So somebody wants to dig more deeply into self-inquiry and this particular path. I can work with them rather than just answering questions. Like satsang, it's chat. You ask a question and I answer it. But I don't get the chance to actually work with somebody, to help them question their assumptions, to help them see the things that they're missing, that's getting in their way, which I can do in a retreat setting like this. So it's 3 days. Really, it's an intensive around self-inquiry and this particular path of spirituality, which, as you know, I'm totally sold on.
Yes, me too now. And I want to share that I feel super lucky and thankful because I feel like I get my own retreat with you every Tuesday that we do the show. And I'm actually, I think I'm rather courageous because I feel like I'm doing the work in front of, thousands and millions of people here. So, but I want to share with people though that I've been working with GP now for a few months, and we talk throughout the week, and I just want, first of all, say thank you to you, GP. I could never imagine my life making more sense, but just feeling better. And I really do get that more fulfilling. I know what you're saying, and I just wish I want that for everybody else. So I really do encourage you to sign up for the retreat. I'm going to share with everybody right now. The retreat is regularly $120, but we're going to do an early bird price for this one for just a flat $100. And I think we're going to do that. We're going to hold that special price right up until, I'm just looking at the calendar here. We said that we're going to give everybody till the week before. Yeah. So that would give us till our next show. Do you want to hold it to the next show?
Yeah, we can hold it to the next show.
Okay, let's do that. So everybody, we want to invite you to do that. Now, we were going to get a snazzy link set up, but just in case we didn't, then what I'm going to have you guys all do right now is to do a direct email, and use that questions at questions at gpwalsh.com, and the question will be about the retreat. You'd like some more information, we can send you more, and even if you just want more details, what's going on, when is the next one, maybe you can't make it. And I do want to wish everybody listening a happy Thanksgiving coming up. To you too, GP.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. Thank you very much. Yeah. In the U.S., you guys had yours, in Canada already. Yeah.
Yes, it feels like ages ago. But, it's always fun to be. I liked knowing so many Americans, because I just feel like I get to extend Thanksgiving.
Get to have another one. Yeah.
Yes. So, everybody, we just love to be interactive with you. That's especially what GP loves. That's why we give you so many opportunities to do this, because there's, the self-inquiry piece is just something I was always missing. And so I'm inviting everybody. Thank you so much, GP. This has been another wonderful episode with you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye, everyone. Come and talk to us.
Bye, everybody.